Hello, my name is Brett Spence and this is part 3 of my Pyrrhus of Epirus video. Enjoy. In 228 BC, the tyrant of Syracuse, Agalostes, died, and Syracuse fell into a civil war between Thenon and Sotralos. With the two sides exhausted by the civil war, Carthage invaded Syracuse and laid siege to the city. The delegation asked Pyrrhus to drive out the Carthaginians and suppress the tyrants, which he agreed to, and left Tarentum to Calana, where he entered into an alliance with Clarendon, the tyrant of Tormentum, and relieved the siege of Syracuse and received the submission of Zorotos and Theon. Pyrrhus began to push the Carthaginians back, with the cities of Argas, Heraclea, Anzos, Salinos, Helica, and Segesta coming over to Pyrrhus' side. With their support, Pyrrhus laid siege to Erex, where he personally led the assault along with his friends, and they captured the city. Pyrrhus would capture Atenta, Panormus, and Hercica, leaving Lelabaeum as the only Carthaginian settlement left in Sicily. Seeing the war was turning against Carthage, the Carthaginians tried to make peace with Pyrrhus, but Pyrrhus rejected their offer and laid siege to Lelabaeum for 2 months before lifting the siege after finding the city's defenses too strong. Pyrrhus decided to fight the Carthaginians on their home soil and planned to raise a large fleet to defeat the Carthaginian navy. Pyrrhus would move against the Mamertines, Italian mercenaries recruited by Agalostes, and now ruled northeast Sicily, where he destroyed their strongholds and confined them to Messina. At some point, Pyrrhus was proclaimed king of Sicily and appointed his youngest son, Helenus, his heir to the kingdom of Sicily, and his second son, Alexander, as the heir to the kingdom of Italy. During his reign, Pyrrhus gave his friends estates that Agalestes gave to his relatives and supporters, made his shield bearers and captains as chief magistrates, drafted men to serve as oarmen for his fleet, for his North Africa campaign, and raised taxes to fund said fleet. Unsurprisingly, these policies made Pyrrhus very unpopular, and prominent citizens started plotting against him. And when Pyrrhus found out about this, Pyrrhus ordered them to be executed, with Zorotoros and Thenon being a part of a plot, but Pyrrhus found out and ordered them to be arrested, with Zorotoros managing to escape, but Thenon was not so lucky and was executed. This action was the last straw for the Sicilians, who saw him as a tyrant. And when the Carthaginians landed on the island, many cities defected to the Carthaginians, and others joined the Mamertines. Seeing that Sicily was lost, Pyrrhus returned to Italy after receiving letters from the Samnites and Tarentines begging him to return after the Romans taken large parts of Pyrrhus's allies' territories. After breaking through the Carthaginian blockade and landing in Italy, where he was attacked by 10,000-strong Mamertine army and inflicted heavy casualties on Pyrrhus's men. During the climax of the battle, a Mamertine challenged a wounded Pyrrhus to a duel. Enraged, Pyrrhus broke free from his shield bearers and cut the Mamertine in half. After this, the Mamertines retreated and did not bother Pyrrhus's army as they marched to Tarentum. When he arrived in Tarentum, he asked the new king of Macedonia, King Antigonus Goantes, for men and money. He also found out that the Lucanians had surrendered to the Romans, but when approached, the city rose up and slaughtered their Roman garrison. When Pyrrhus arrived at Lucania, he executed the citizens who invited the Romans and put a strict fine on the city so they can fund and supply his army. He would also loot a temple of Persephone to fund his army. Pyrrhus marched his army to face the Roman army under the command of Consul Marius Ruinus Derentus at Bereventum. On 275 BC, Pyrrhus divided his army into two, with himself leading his half to fight Derentus and the other half to Lucania to prevent the Roman army from reinforcing Derentus. Pyrrhus, wanting to surprise the Roman army, ordered a night march through a long and wooded track, which broke up Pyrrhus's army, with some soldiers getting lost. And when dawn came, Pyrrhus was in full view of the Roman camp, as his exhausted army was getting ready for battle. Seeing the disordered Epirot army, Derentus reacted quickly and attacked the Epirites and captured some of their elephants and thrown Pyrrhus's army into confusion. After restoring some order, Pyrrhus pursued the Romans back to their camp, where the Romans repulsed them and put Pyrrhus's army to flight. After the victory, Durantus was granted a triumph by the Roman Senate to celebrate the victory over Pyrrhus, and Pyrrhus retreated back to Tarentum. Join me next time for the final part of my Pyrrhus of Epirus series. See you next time.